Did you see that Jesse Enkamp video of the self-defense?
We are going to talk about this.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
What did you think?
I don't know, man.
Anything you've seen before?
Yeah, well, so I think he showed 3 different things, and one of them was pretty similar to something you had taught last week.
I think it was the hook one, yeah?
Yeah, the defense against the haymaker.
Universal defense.
Yeah, pretty much,
Against the hook is...
Yeah.
And
then one of them was, it involved, clapping the ears, which is something you did as well. And then the last one, the defense against the tackle, or a takedown, like a rugby tackle type thing, it was pure nonsense. Utter nonsense.
Yeah. And I think Master Ken called it bullshit on the video, yeah?
Yeah.
I thought it was quite funny, but yeah, teaching self-defense in the dojo, is that something, like, do you ever teach the kids that? Self-defense stuff?
Actually, recently, since we had our conversation with Guy Brodeur, I've started to incorporate just a little bit, just like an application for Shuto-Uke or Get on Barai, something really simple. And they're rubbish at doing the drill, but they love it. They love pairing up with somebody and preparing to punt, pretending to do a big haymaker and then, like blocking and preparing and striking the neck with a shuto and something. They get, it's great crack for them, even though they're rubbish at it. I've started to incorporate just a little bit of practical application with the kids. Yeah. Because Guy said that even if it's your first ever karate class, you need to go away with something that works.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to try that.
Because I think it is one of the things, like I think we've talked about it before, but it can be difficult to see the immediate practicality of karate when you first start training it.
I didn't see it for years and years because I came up in the KUGB style, which was just Kihon, brain dead Kihon.
Kihon, Kimite Kata, Kihon, Kimite Kata with no explanation. Really,
exactly. Yeah. No links in between them.
I think something like I've tried to do self-defense stuff with kids before, but it just ends up in chaos a little bit. It gets a bit chaotic, and I think to myself, all I'm doing is taking away minutes that could be dedicated to them practicing kata or something like something that they're actually going to need, because at the end of the day, the kids want to get their new belts, they want to do this.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think I wasted half an hour there.
Oh, I'd never spent half an hour on it, man.
No, I would say I wasted like half an hour trying to get them to do.
Tommy has arrived with the cans of Guinness. Thank you, Tommy Sensei. Oh, that was too close to the microphone. Oh, there we go. He said that's what seniors are for. What were we talking about?
But yeah, I think but I definitely, last couple of times I was teaching in Scott Sensei's class, I thought I'll do something a bit different. I'll do some self-defense stuff. There's a couple of similarities in that Jesse Enkamp video, but I think one of the big things is if you're going to do that, man, you have to keep it as simple as possible, I think. I've been in classes where people are teaching self-defense stuff and they have 6 different sequences just in order to get somebody down to the ground, or you're trying to put them in all sorts of arm locks, leg locks, all these
stuff that's never going to work,
twisting the hand this way and then pushing the elbow this way while rotating them this way and then flipping them the other way, when sometimes just like the best thing, man, is just take the heel of your palm and just smack them in the face with it. And
I think a lot of people such as Jesse Enkamp, they talk too much about it while they're doing it. It took him
I was skipping
minutes
through the video and trying to get to the point, and every time I skipped,
he was just talking.
I was like, just show me what you're doing. Like, show me 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
Like, show me the sequence 6 or 7 times rather than telling me about the sequence. Yeah. That's one of my pet peeves with people who teach. It's like they talk about it a lot. It's like, just show me it.
Yeah.
Show me it, or bring someone up who can do it. And if you're not able to do what you're like, which you probably should if you're teaching it, but if you can't do it, or there's someone in the class who maybe does it better than you, pull them out and get them to do it, so we can all see what it is you're wanting us to do, and we can try and replicate it. I think when it comes to self-defense, I think karate instructors in general, they can talk a big game about it, but then actually have no clue of how to make it practical.
But it seems that we're going to be certainly It seems that you've started to put a stronger emphasis on practical application, self-defense type stuff.
Not even trying to relate it to kata that much, maybe like I'll say, well, this technique you can see like this a little bit like, whatever move in Hyanidan or whatever, like this is a little bit like Shuto, this is a little bit like whatever, but I think when you try and fit what works, trying to make something like a kata, taking a technique from that and then trying to make it work, better to just defend it against an attack, find what works, and then see what it's similar
if it
to.
Fits into a kata.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We done that funny drill the other day that I think Scott Sensei was talking about, saying Christian Augerson from Norway was the one that showed him it or came up with it.
Which one was it?
It was the so one person stands in a circle. In the middle of the circle,
this was
and
great.
they get attacked by 4 different people, one at a time, and you just block and counter any way that you can see fit. Doesn't have to be fit, like have any sort of finesse to it. It's just stop the attack and hit them, stop the attack and hit them, stop the attack and hit them, and then you take that away and you just practice what block and counter you did, and then you make it a little bit neater, a little bit cleaner.
You make it look more like Kihon,
then you
basic
put
moves.
One after the other, and then all of a sudden you've got like a little mini kata.
Yeah. And
we've done that, twice, and then you had an 8 or 9 move kata, something like that.
Oh, mine had like 20 moves.
lots of counters, yeah. But and then you end up adding turns to it, then you have to add embassy, and then all of a sudden you've got this very elaborate performance that originally stemmed from just very simple self-defense techniques.
Yeah.
And that's the way that you should. I think that's an excellent point, and thank you, Christian, for that great idea, because I thought it was a great example of how kata becomes so stylized, so so stylized compared to what they're probably actually meant to be practicing.
Yeah, definitely. For example, there was a part where I was in the middle of that. We were doing that drill that you mentioned, so I was in the middle, and I had to show my team the bits that I'd come up with, and one bit was too elaborate. It was like this big swinging block that I'd done or something, and they were having trouble getting it. So I broke it down into 2 moves, and then I just added something for the other hand to do, and all of a sudden it didn't look like what I had done in the first place at all. But I'd just done it that way because it was easier to teach, and you could well say that that's what has happened to
99% of
kata have just been, they've changed in ways that's easier to teach, or changed to ways that are, this and that, things that aren't necessarily to do with practical application at all.
I'm very upset, man, because we're talking about Tommy Sensei's bread and butter.
Yeah.
And he's over there giggling away with his wee pint.
Come sit down and talk to us, Tommy.
He's got Guinness everywhere. What were you here to talk to us? What's the glass?
Sit right there next to Ross and we'll share this microphone.
In general, though, I think people, that kind of systematically trying to make kata techniques into something that works rather than just doing something that works and seeing what kata that fits into. I think that's a mistake that a lot of people make. Wouldn't you agree, Tom Sensei?
I think it's also about like the fact that people are trying to turn kata and use kata as a self-defense technique against Shotokan style movements.
Yeah.
Which is the way you will never ever be attacked. Well, you'd be pretty thrilled if you were attacked like that. To be honest. Somebody step back into Gidan Brown like, oh, yosh,
and they go,
this is going to be fucking great. But unfortunately, that doesn't really happen unless, you're very lucky.
I'm waiting for that day so I can do that Kagawa Maigeri to somebody.
Oh, Maigeri, yes. So yeah, I think that's the problem, is that, people are trying to use it, and people get caught up in, I must be in a stance and I should be facing forward, or in the kata it's this. And, people like Steve Vubel Sensei and Guy Broder Sensei, people like that, Ian Abernethy, all these guys are just doing it.
Yeah.
They just do it. They've gone beyond the technique. I know it sounds very zen, but they have, you know what I mean? And that's so important, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to start doing that as well, slowly. Just very slowly with the simplest moves. Forget the complicated stuff. Just even the blocks. We saw Steve's application of blocks in wherever we were, San Diego, weeks ago, and it just rattles your head, and it's kind of, it just puts you back in your box a lot. Is the only way, you know what I mean? Like, it's not that we're doing anything wrong by any account, but it just puts you back into a sense of, okay, there's a lot more going on here than we're giving this block credit for.
Yeah, that's that separation between style and form to practical application. Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's understanding that what might benefit you athletically, or in terms of conditioning your body, whether it be for flexibility or explosiveness or any of those things, there's still a nitty gritty application side to everything that you need to adhere to, and to try and make that form go hand in hand with that application probably isn't going to get you very far.
Absolutely. And it's like, give us all 8-10 pints, bring us back into the dojo, you know, let's roll around, have a few, try your bunkai then, and see how efficient it would be. The stuff that we teach
sounds like a Hombu Dojo Christmas party.
Yeah, man, I got injured at the last Hombu Dojo Christmas party.
What happened?
Oh, yeah.
I got kicked in the leg, remember? There was that person there who did Muay Thai. And she kicked me in the leg.
Oh, Christ, yeah.
And I was limping at the Christmas course the next day. I looked ridiculous.
Yeah. I didn't realise that was that bad.
She's gone now. She's dead now.
She's dead now.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but again, I think there is a bit of truth in that. How many of us would actually use what we know after a few pints?
Again,
There would be elements of it, but
I mean, I think what you would use is, again, that the benefits of the training rather than the actual techniques that have benefited you itself. Yeah. You just, like, somebody starts something, you just smack them, don't you? You don't.
you don't talk about. There's no thinking.
Self-defense with Ross Sensei. Somebody starts something, you just smack them.
Yeah, just rattle them.
I mean, that's it. Like, I mean, see so many people like, oh, I have a. You hear some of these guys, you know, online and stuff. It's like, oh, I have a sequence that I do that's unbeatable. It's an unbeatable street self-defense sequence.
Oh,
and it starts with a stomp on the foot, poke in the eye, a smack on the side of the head, a tickle of the armpit, then a snap of the... And it's just some sort of nonsense thing. And it's like, at the end of the day, you're just going to, again, probably slap them in the face is probably the first thing you're going to do is just put your hands in their face and push them away. Something like, it's very short time to think about anything, and it just goes to what you instinctually do. And if you train, for example, to punch Gakuzuki all day, every day, like we do, chances are somebody starts on, the first thing you're going to do is just a straight right hand to the face, regardless of the technique. It's just going to be however you hit the makiwara hard and fast, that's what you're going to do.
Exactly.
Especially for someone my size, it's probably not a good idea to get into any grappling. Because if you're going to turn it into a contest of strength, well, for someone like me, I'm probably going to lose because most people are a bit bigger than me. But I'm fast and I can punch hard. So yeah, I'm going to try and keep my distance, and I'm going to try. But you know, we're talking about fighting as if we have a lot of experience. We watch a lot of videos. We know a lot in theory, but I've never been in a real fight as a grown up. I used to get in a lot of fights when I was a kid, but when you're a kid, you're not really that capable of hurting one another. I've seen people get really badly hurt. Luckily, I wasn't fighting those people. But, you know, just schoolyard scraps, basically, where you're sore for a few days, but never life-threatening.
I would never put myself in a situation where you end up in a fight.
Oh, you mean as a... Yeah. Oh, no.
I mean, I think if you're doing that, you're an idiot. I think that you might find yourself in a situation where you cannot escape the scenario.
Yeah.
But I think, I hope most people, like what was it? Somebody put, it was a post that Scott put, and he was talking about application. Yeah. And somebody said, how many real fights have you ever been in?
Oh, yeah!
And I was reading that. I was reading it going like,
yeah,
fucking moron. Like
is he getting ready to boast about how many fights he's been in?
Like, is it something you'd brag about? Is it something that you, like, I think as a grown man, if you find yourself... Or women, but like in his case, to still relish in the thought of getting in a fight when either you're going to do serious damage to somebody and go to jail, or you're going to have serious damage done to you
and go to hospital.
or look like a bit of an idiot because you can't do it, which is the worst. The shame you have to commit harakiri when you get home, like, you know.
I think there's a sense of irony in training as well, like, you know what I mean, like the more you know about violence and how to inflict violence in theory, the less you want to be involved.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of ironic. We're like, oh, come on, let's smash this, rally each other. But then you go outside and you're like, okay, well, this is dojo's dojo. You train your body, you train your mind.
You're going to give me my fifth Dan if I smack you? No? Then I'm not going to do it. Is there a cash prize at the end of this brawl? No? Then I'm not interested. You're all right.
Exactly, you know, like it just becomes ridiculous, like, you know. And
if you're good at something, never do it for free. That's the rule, yeah.
The Joker says, exactly. So, like, yeah, I just think it's, just train.
Best self-defense is, what is it Scott says? Don't be there?
Don't be there, yeah.
Yeah, best self-defense is don't be there.
The second one is my giddy to the chin. Number
If you're
two.
little like us through, it's my giddy to the testicles.
Yeah.
It always works.
Yeah. But we were talking about training by yourself versus training in classes and stuff. You were just, you know, getting a wee sweat on in the dojo there by yourself there while we were talking.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time training by yourself on your own. I know you tell me about your secret room in the kitchen that you
Yeah, the dry store.
smacking the cans.
Store in the kitchen, the flour, bags of flour, the tins, and chocolate bags as well. Sometimes if I'm feeling a bit.
Those are your makiwara?
They're my makiwaras, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I suppose I do. Like, I don't spend hours and hours and hours training on my own. I don't have time. But you know, just today I had a pretty mentally stressful day in work, so I was like, I am itching. I did go to show yesterday morning with AJ, and we were walking through, and it was just crap. I was like, my time is way off here, and probably spending too much time on social in the last couple of weeks. So I said, right, I need to readapt to training now. So do feel a little bit better after that. Probably completely uncoordinated. I probably look like a turkey over there, but like.
It's when you were upside down for half the time. I was like, that's funny going to dojo.
Trying to keep myself level. But yeah, no, I mean, training on your own, I do it every now and then. Like, there's times you just can't get here, you know, it just doesn't work and you're too tired. So I'll just stand in front. I'm lucky I have a big long mirror in my room, so I just stand in front of the mirror and just ping away. Just do 20, 30 yakuzukis, and you do 20 yakuzukis full speed, full power in front of the mirror. You don't need nothing else. You are fucking wrecked. You are wrecked, and it might only be 2 minutes, but after a 12 or 14 hour day, that 2 minutes is quite a long time, you know. So yeah, but I think I mean it's good to do it, but I wouldn't, not say I wouldn't. I mean, like, it can be very dangerous as well, because you have an idea of yourself, and then you guys come along and go, no, that's not what you're doing at all. Do you know, for example, when someone else is watching you or vice versa, you just become, you know. You think, oh, well, I can do it in my head, which never translates to what your body is doing, you know? So it can be quite dangerous.
I think, like, you were talking there about, at the start there, about, you know, you felt your time was off with Goju show. Like, how do you, like...
Your timing is off according to who?
Well, according to
it's
yourself.
quite subjective.
That's
Sorry.
That's what I'm saying. According to yourself, you were saying your timing was all off, way off and stuff. Like, I think, for me personally, like, it is, like, you can feel it straight away that something might not be good. But then there's once or twice I thought, like, there's been times when I thought, something about that felt off to me. Somebody's went, I think one time I done soul chin in front of you, and you went, and it was the one time when you went, that was actually really good.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I remember going, that's funny, because a couple of bits in there I thought were way off, and you were like, no, you took your time, you were there. So, like, I think, do you ever struggle to find the balance of being too self-critical of yourself, maybe not being self-aware of what you're maybe doing right, what you're maybe doing wrong? Like, because I know that's something I sometimes find I struggle with. There's things that I think, oh yeah, that felt quite good, like, and then, like you say, the boss, yourself, somebody will come in and go, what are you doing that for? That's stupid, you know, and or vice versa. There's something you feel, this just feels sloppy, and then somebody looks and you're like, you're pinging away at that, and it's like, how do you personally struggle to find that, to recognise that?
I think there is a balance. Again, I think I'm constantly questioned, because having like a Scott Sensei around, we're constantly being challenged, because he's constantly challenging himself. So I guess we never get the chance to become complacent and go, well, I can do Soshin and that's it. I put that cat to bed and I never do it. I just pull it out every now and then. That's it. It's done. It's perfect. That's never the case, because you have to keep training consistently. But I think, Yeah, you do. Like, there is a point where you have to kind of give yourself a bit of a break and not be too hard on yourself. But then there's times when you just, like, I haven't done that in a while, and it was AJ said to me yesterday morning, "Can we do it?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, that's fine." Yeah, and I did the first one. I was like, "Holy Jesus Christ, what the hell was that?" Looked like a guy trying to, God knows what. And I knew straight away it was off. And now I feel a bit better after just a bit of repetition, and I left it alone. I went into other katas and I did it towards the end, and I was like, okay, that's better now. You get a feeling for it again. Do you know what I mean? And then I suppose you can be constantly at it, like, but I think it's a case of just getting it to a point where you're satisfactory, getting somebody else to have a quick look and going, oh yeah, that's nice, okay, well, okay, that's fine, move on, something else, and keep it warm.
You train with Scott, myself, consistently.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to think that in terms of technical advice, in terms of what we tend to teach in classes, it's not too far apart. I don't think I'm going against the grain when I'm teaching compared to Scott.
No.
I think I try and emulate Scott a lot. But what do you feel like when you train with someone like, for example, Rick Houghton Sensei or Gibro Do Sensei or one of the guest instructors, when they change something completely about the kata, they have their own unique take on a certain aspect of a kata. Say, for example, you're practicing MP a lot just now. If you were to look at the way Scott Sensei does MP, and then the way that, I don't know, like Rick Houghton Sensei, I would say that one because he's quite out there with the way that he thinks of kata. If Rick was teaching you MP, do you think that there would be things that you would definitely change because, like, it's a different perspective? Do you think you would just stick with what you know? Like, are you at the stage now where you're maybe trying to experiment a little bit with?
No.
Not at all?
No, that's the short answer to that, man.
No.
I feel like the best thing for me to do at the moment is to try and emulate what you and Scott are doing. I feel in that regard I'm still very much at the Shu. I'm in the Shu of the Shu-Ha-Ri.
We're all at the Shu.
Are we?
Oh, yeah, we really learned that lesson very quickly.
I feel like I'm still in the Shu. And say I went to a different sensei and he revealed something new, something that really appealed to me, and it went against something that Scott had taught, I'd just sort of save it for later. I'd practice it a bit, make sure I can do it, make sure I remember it, and then I'd just go back to trying to do what.
You got an example of something that you've liked that's a bit against the grain than what we're normally doing in here?
Probably some Dicky stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Dickey's a good. He's the go-to one,
Contrast.
because it is that contrast between him and Scott.
Mm-hmm. Are we allowed to call him Dicky on the podcast?
You just called him Dicky on the podcast, didn't you?
Okay, Richard.
Richard Amos Sensei.
Sorry, Richard Amos Sensei. Fail.
Because his style is so
We
different.
can't call him Dicky on the podcast, can we?
Do we have to go back?
Nah, fuck it. Who cares?
Okay.
Right.
Because his style is so different to Scott's, but also so good, so impressive, and so appealing.
Yeah, I mean, look at his. Okay, we'll get back to that. Go on. How are you?
So his bag has always been what he tries to get across. In my experience, Richard Amos is the connection thing, and one of Scott's big things has always been the whip thing, and Richard Amos is always about using the whole body. Connecting, sort of this thing of releasing your, say if you're stepping forward Oizuki, your hand moves at the same, you start moving your hand, you release your hand, everything moves at the same time. There's very little, there's no disjointed movement. It's nearly robotic, but it works for him. And back when we were more closely associated with him, when I had done a few courses, I'd gone to a few courses, I thought, like, this stuff is really good, I want to be able to do this. And since up till the point where you guys, you recently did your trip to San Diego, and we're re-emphasizing that thing now because Steve Ubel has kind of revealed to you guys just how important it is. But up until that, a couple of weeks ago, I was much more into trying to. I was just immersed in Scott style, which is it's whippier. It's you save some things. You know, say you step forward and you try to hold things back, and then release them at the last second. Timing is still important. Things have got to finish at the same time. It's just a different style, I guess. So yeah, I'd like to come back to. You know, I said I'd come back to that Richard Amos style stuff, and we're coming back to it now anyway, so I don't have to do that on my own. But like I said, in the meantime, I've got to work my way up the ranks. I've got to just learn. I don't think I'm at the stage where I can start making decisions for myself. So I'm just going to do my best to emulate what you guys are doing for the time being.
And I think like that's the right thing to do in a sense. Like you have to have a base. And then you can work. You do have a base now, but it's quite a mixed base. Like, well, let's say before you started training full time, you had a mixed base. I would say,
definitely.
So, like, you had quite a mixed base as well, and then you spend a couple of years with someone. I'm training with Scott since 4 years now, nearly 4 years. So you know, I have adapted a lot of his style. Absolutely, you know what I mean. But again, I still haven't forgotten the roots of training with the likes of Aidan Trimble for 10 years of my life, you know what I mean, and the likes of training with whoever else, you know, Steve for even for 10 or for 20 years, you know what I mean. So you know, you still keep them, but you just add on to it, you know what I mean. And like you will pick up things as you go along, but you do need a solid base. And like,
I'm not worried about it. There's so many good senseis
that,
out there, you know, and I know I'm going to stick with Scott for a long time, and when the time is right, I'll branch out there, because I'm really wary of people who jump ahead, who try and develop their own style when they still just haven't got the basics down.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like that. I want to be diligent. You know?
Yeah. No, can't disagree with that. I think that it is like, but it is something like, for example, going back to bringing it back around to kata. There is certain ways that some people do things that I think can always just enhance your own performance of it. Like, for example, like we've talked about this before, right, but the way that Rick, like we talked about this last time you were on, but the way Rick Houghton just talked about Sochin, when he started talking about how to be relaxed during kata, and then he came up and physically manoeuvred us to the point where we're like, oh, we can feel the tension now, and we think we're relaxed, we think we've lost the tension because, you know, maybe our fists a little bit looser, our shoulders are down. But then, like, as soon as you felt him and how relaxed he was when you touched you, were like,
use that Aikido touch.
Yeah, he did, man. He 100% did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, 100% did, and you were like just like turned to jelly. You were like, oh, okay, this is relaxed. Then next thing you know, when you do that you know, that double punch in Sochin, it was a million times. It was just like, you know,
but that's not necessarily.
But I think that's his talk about also being relaxed, and then how he then releases the punch. His feeling of that. Feel this, and then feel like you're coming down into your hip, and this is firing out. Just that thought process of where the energy's going, and it's that sort of downward then upward arc sort of thing with the body. Like, again, hard to describe without feeling it and physically seeing what he was talking about. But it was literally talking about your energy coming down and through your center to your hip, to specifically the hip that's firing, and then it shooting out. And when he was doing that, and you could feel the relaxation that he wanted you to have. Yeah. So your arms are totally relaxed, and his hip, then you felt, you know, said your hip forward, then your hands just went out. And I think that's something that is unique to Rick that I always try and emulate. Then you've got, like I said, we were over at Steve the other day. He was changing everything about like our kata stances and stuff, and that's something that, for example, I'll leave behind because that's not at that level, not ready for that step yet. But then you've got like so many different people who have different expertise in certain kata. Like, there's certain people who, you know, they have that go-to kata that is just their kata, and when they do it, you just go, wow, I need to steal the way that they're moving here during this sequence. That sequence is something completely different to everyone else, and I love it, so I'm taking it. You know, like there was a video of the boy in the JKA talking about going Shu-Ha-Ri, and he was talking about that Geidan Haito.
Yeah, the Haitos,
the Haitos when you turn. And he was just talking about how he drops his body. This is how he makes this turn, how he lands and stuff. And it was just like, that's great. I'm stealing that.
Yeah,
and that's something that hasn't been taught before.
I think you're talking about different ways of conceptualizing something, but not necessarily doing it differently to the way we're taught.
Well, I think like differently to the way you're taught. I think, but people have emphasis on what you could say conceptualize. But then there's also mixes of ways to do techniques. For example, again, Richard and Scott are the two best examples because they do perform their techniques differently. Now, if I'm looking at Unsu, for example, Richard Sensei's Unsu is excellent, and there's certain ways that he does things in Unsu that I would definitely steal and try and perform the same way as opposed to Scott's karate, just because there's something about that sort of speaks to me a bit more than maybe the way that Scott Sensei's teaching it.
Okay.
That being said, if I'm do like there's certain things in, I don't know, MP for example, the way that Scott can, you know, drives with his back leg and stuff compared to the way that I've done MP with Richard Sensei, that I would prefer to do Scott's way. Just with what they're emphasising on with each part of their body is a little bit different, you know.
Fair enough.
There's certain things, like I know that this part, the first Kiai Unsu, the way that Dickie does that first Kiai Unsu is excellent. You know, I'll call him Dickie again, sorry.
It's too late now.
Just on that whole Dickie thing, did you see his Kumite performance?
Yeah.
The last couple of days, like his Ashiragiri is just phenomenal.
Perfect example. How's Ashiragiri?
Perfect.
I have
Completely.
tried to emulate Richard Sensei's Ashiragiri.
So difficult.
Yeah.
So difficult.
You're
As
talking about
best I
these
can.
videos that he put up on was it Facebook?
Facebook,
He was
yeah.
competing in Japan.
Yeah.
They were wearing headgear,
He won,
and
yeah.
it was he won.
Yeah,
he won
in
himself
time,
first
yeah.
place.
Very impressive.
Really impressive.
It still looked sharp as ever, you know, like very, very good. But yeah, so for example, his Ashirogiri is something that that I learned from him that's unique to him, I think, in the way that he was teaching it, the way he was showing it. Tommy Sensei, Guinness this. And yeah, that's something that I'll take away from him that's unique. His Kokomi as well, I really love the way that he does his Kokomi, and compared to anyone else that's taught me Yokogiri Kokomi, the way he does it, I love the feeling of it. I love the way he described how he uses the front of his body, the back of his body, the hip flexors versus the glutes to prepare and execute. Something that nobody else has really taught me in the same way before. That's something that's unique that I would steal from him.
And I think
absolutely.
Richard Sensei's like explanation of how he feels and his descriptiveness of the movement is pretty unique.
He has certain phrases and stuff
He
that
really
makes you go.
speaks to you, and his wording, and like, you know if you've ever done a podcast on people's wording, Dodong for Scott Sensei, like Yush for Richard Sensei, and wow for, it's a whole podcast there in itself. But
The music that senseis make.
the music that senseis make,
Yeah.
exactly. Like Richard Sensei is a whole yush, 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 like we do it all the time.
Yeah.
We might be taking the piss a little bit. We take the piss out of Scott, take the piss out of everyone, but at the same time, we do that because there is a sense
Because
of
it captures
yush.
that feeling,
It
yeah.
is the feeling of how he moves, and
Yeah.
there's certain moves I will always do exactly as Richard Sensei has said because it fucking works.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense. Same with Scott Sensei, there's things I'll take from all of them, and you just mix them up, and they just, they work. You know what I mean? And that's, there's something nice about it,
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
yush.
One that I really like is when Rick Houghton talks about really winding back that hikite and really pulling back into hamni. And then he said, you're like pulling like you're drawing the string on a bow. And the idea is that you release the tension as you throw that gyakuzuki, and then you lock it in again at the end. And he said if there was a ki for that feeling, it wouldn't be, it would be, I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of bullshit you're into.
Yeah. On that note, I think it's time for the
Fails
of the week.
Fails of the week.
Tommy Sensei, do you have one?
Yeah, my good shodo. Good shodo.
Go to Shu-Ha-Ri dojo.
Good shodo.
You should next
There you go.
time you're with
Enough
Tommy
said.
Sensei, ask him for his Niji show. It's very good. Very good.
Yeah,
Niji
my shodo. Yeah, that was my favorite of the week. Absolutely.
Just your bad timing in Goju show?
Just my form, my whole thing. It'll be better next week or next year. We'll
Well, that's not a very funny fail of the week, Tommy.
see. Okay,
do better
I wasn't
next
here
time.
much this week. I was only here. Was I here Monday?
Don't know, right?
No, I don't know. See, I was here yesterday with AJ.
Yeah,
It was
you
only
were with
me
us
and
social
AJ.
on Monday.
Me and AJ, you know. Oh yeah, we're here on Monday. No, I've no fails this week.
You were perfect.
No, I wasn't perfect. Fuck no. I wasn't here enough this week to have a fail.
Do you have one, Ross?
Yeah, I think my fail of the week would be. I was trying to. We have Morad Sensei coming in June to teach, and he, in my opinion, has perfected Yahara spinning your racket.
Mm-hmm.
It is fantastic, and if you haven't seen it, check it out on his Facebook, on his Instagram. It's everywhere, man. He does it all the time. Every video.
But it is very, very good.
Amazing. And I have been trying to get to grips with it myself because I want to, because he's going to teach it when he's over here, and I want us all to be able to just
have a head
do it.
start anyway.
Yeah, to just be, so that we're not spending the
3
whole
hours.
session doing spinning racking when we know that that's what he's going to do. Well, I want, because he's so much more than that, and you can see it in his karate, and I don't want it to be. Not that I'm saying it will be, but I don't want it to be like a class on his like gimmick, you know. That's like going to a course with Kagawa and all he does is his yokogeri. You don't want to do the yokogeri. You've seen it that much. You want to dive into some of the like knowledge that he has to offer, and that's the same thing I feel with Morad. So I've been trying to do it, and man, I'm teaching it and I'm trying to break it down and realised very quickly during class I can't fucking do it. Like, I was teaching it, I was telling everyone this is the feeling that you need to have, blah blah blah. I didn't fucking clue what I was talking about. I was like,
To be fair,
falling over the fucking place.
I thought I was learning how to
to be
do
fair,
it.
I was there and Rue, you were killing it. To be fair, he was killing it, man. He was doing some tidy ones.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
There you
too
go.
fucking old to do it, but he was killing it, man.
And I can't even
He
do
was
the jumping
killing
unsu.
I realised very quickly that compared to when I normally teach stuff, I was like, I am very, 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 very unqualified to teach this technique. You know, it just wasn't up to standard at all. I get it. I could pass it by compared to everyone else in the class, but if you were to put me up in front of someone who actually practices it a lot, I'd look like a complete donkey. You know, so
It's quite a
yeah, that was my
like
fail.
I'm still quite sore in the hips, to be honest. After it,
Yeah.
I mean, it was you and me training that class, Rue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm still a bit sore in the hips. Do you know what I mean? Like, to be honest, I mean, we were training hard. We were
He
pushing.
taught
it.
the same class on Thursday, so I did it twice.
Fucking Egypt. I think, you know, like, I was fucking so I know you've got a bad hip anyway. Fuck's sake. I'm glad I didn't come last night. But yeah, it was quite a physical class. It was good. Like, I liked your thought process behind it. It was good.
I'm trying to break it down a bit.
Trying to break it down. Yeah, yeah. And it is hard. You can see. It'll be interesting to see how he approaches it. You know, because again, it's his baby, it's his thing, or it's Yahara's thing, coming straight from Yahara, from Abe, wherever that lineage came from. You know, it'll be interesting to see. And like Richard Sensei taught it very well in Norway a couple of years ago.
He taught me it when I was in New York with
quite
him,
nice,
and
yeah.
that's where I was getting the base for the final position. But I was trying to do it in a dynamic way with like a Gakuzuki beforehand to try and get that quick bounce
I'm
into
just
it.
a little bit worried that people might not be 100% aware of what technique we're talking about. Can you explain it?
The spinning Uraken that Yahara does. it's when you.
Just so people can visualize it while we're
It's when
explaining it.
you do a 360-degree turn
Without moving your feet.
without moving your feet. So you coil into yourself while you're dropping your centre down. So you're compressing down with your legs while coiling in, so your inner thigh muscles are coming in together. Actually, the backs of your thighs are coming in together once you've rotated fully round, and you end up coming round full circle, hitting with the back fist. You've all seen it. Anybody who's listening to this podcast
It's
should
in
know
Yahara's 8th dan grading video.
it. See, he does it all the time, man. Just type in Yahara Uraken and you'll see it, you know?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But
sorry.
yeah, man. No. It's like, but I'm trying to break it down. You know, trying to break it down didn't go that well. Rue, what's your fail?
Did I already do the one where I taught Teki Shodan backwards?
Yeah.
Did I already tell you
Yeah,
about
you
that?
said that one before, yeah.
My fail of the week this time is well, I nearly did that twice, by the way, but
He's trying to teach kids takes you backwards but does it properly, and the kids are all doing it backwards. Going, sensei.
and then one of the kids had to tell me, "Oh, Sensei, you're doing this backwards." But this, my most recent fail of the week is I ended a class half an hour early, and then realised what I'd done and had to start the class again. I was just like, because, man, some of my classes start at odd times. I have classes that start on the hour, quarter past the hour, half past the hour. I get mixed up sometimes. So I was teaching these, it was one of my after-school gigs. And the kids are very little, they're like 5s, and there's a whole load of them. So it's an intensive class, I have to be on the ball, high energy. And I just kind of lost the run of myself, and I saw that it was, that the hour was coming up. It was coming up to 2 o'clock. Yeah. And I thought, okay, let's play a quick game. We played a game of helicopter, and I lined them up and bowed. And I said, okay, well, see you next week. And their parents weren't there to pick them up. And nothing happened for a while, and they started running around the place and screaming and playing catch, and it kind of descended into chaos. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And I checked the time, and it was 5 past the hour at this stage, and I was like, oh shit, there's 25 minutes left in class.
Jesus.
So I had to calm them all down again.
That's a big fail, man.
That's a big
big fucking fail.
Domestic, you say you didn't have one.
I only lost 5 minutes, okay?
That's a big fail.
So I just lined them all up again, and we
get out, go on.
Go. Okay, back onto the
roam the streets.
Yeah. So I just started the class again, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Only lost 5 minutes.
Fail.
Gee, thanks.
Big fail.
Well, I'm glad it's a big fail, because I give the people what they want. They want to hear a fail of the week. I give them a fail of the week.
Anyway, guys, I think we'll call it a wrap there. That was pure ages.
That was a long time. I'm going to edit this one down a bit, I think.
Yeah.
We're at 1:20 right now, folks, so whatever you get in the finished product will probably be less than that. It was a bit of messing around.
Probably edit this bit out as well if I was talking about how we're going to edit it.
People like that. It's breaking the fourth wall, man. They love it.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Os de Perros. Yes.